Well, welcome to Laketon Bethel, and welcome our video audience. It's good to have you with us always. My name is Sherwin. I'm the pastor here, and we have two services every Sunday, one at 9 o'clock and one at 11. And during the 11 o'clock service, we have Children's Church. I wanted to extend a special welcome to those of you who have not returned yet from the time of the start of COVID. Just want to let you know that we've taken all kinds of safety precautions here. We have good social distancing. We make sure everything is sanitary, and it's okay to come back. So come on back. We don't want to forget what you look like. So come on back. And the slide that you're seeing up there is from a wedding that took place yesterday. That's Nick and Melanie Bishop, and we want to offer our congratulations to them. And also, just for our video audience, we are having a membership class that starts on October 13. It's two parts, October 13 and 20. And we're starting an adult Bible study called The Bible and End Times, or the End Times Bible Study. That will start on October 27. The dates are in the bulletins, or they can be found at the website laketonbethel.org. So today, I'm asking the question, can a narcissist change? Can a narcissist change? And in order to do this thoroughly, we have to define what a narcissist is. And we're going to do that in just a minute, but I got to tell you a story first about these guys. These are baby red fox. And when I was a kid, up until the year 1978, there was a bounty in Iowa on red fox. The government paid you to get rid of them because they were considered a nuisance animal. So many people would trap them or shoot them, turn part of their bodies in for a bounty, and then sell the fur if they were particularly ambitious. So what would happen is every spring you'd have some orphan fox running around. My dad was out in the field one day and he found a young fox pup, and he put it in his lunch pail of all things and took it home. And I saw it. It was just this little thing. It probably weighed 1.5 pounds, 2 pounds. It was kind of cute, and I took it out and it made puppy sounds, and I was 8 or 9 years old, so I said, "Dad, can I keep it? Can I keep it?" And he said, "Well, for a little while." And we had this old grain bin converted into a kennel that wasn't in use at the time, so I put him in there, and I named him Foxy Loxy. And he was my pet. And I thought that was kind of a cool pet to have. He was friendly. He'd even wagged his tail, and he yelped a little bit. When I came in, I had a BB gun. I shot pigeons and fed him pigeons. He loved to eat pigeons. But I noticed he did growl a little bit when I brought him a pigeon every time. Well, a veterinarian came by and saw him, and he said, "What are you doing with that thing?" I said, "Well, I'm raising him. He's going to be my pet fox." And the vet said, "You can't do that. That's a wild animal. He's going to get a little bit bigger, and he will turn on you and attack you." Well, I was 8 or 9 years old. Of course, I knew more about things than an old veterinarian. I mean, what does an old veterinarian know about animals? Come on, So, Foxy Loxy is growing and getting bigger and is getting a little more aggressive. And sure enough, one day he attacked me, and then my dad got rid of him. But we're talking to the veterinarian about that. He says, a fox is not capable of change. He's a wild animal. He's governed by instincts, and he's not capable of making that change. Well, a lot of people define narcissists as not being able to change either. But all narcissists are human, and humans can change. We're not like a wild fox. We're not governed only by instinct. God has given us this ability in our minds to make changes, and we can make those changes. The definition of a narcissist one of the dictionaries that I have says, a narcissist is a person who has excessive interest in or admiration of themselves. They like to stand in front of a mirror and say, oh, how beautiful I am, that sort of thing. Excessive admiration for yourself. A narcissist thinks the world revolves around them. A narcissist will say, I matter and you don't. You only matter when you're making me look good, or I can use you. A narcissist will never own the problem. The problem is always somebody else's fault. They get fired from their job, it's the boss's fault. They get divorced, it's their spouse's fault. Narcissists, extreme narcissists, usually don't go to church because Jesus is not somebody they would admire. He's somebody that they would see as a weakling, somebody that they don't really have much use for. If they do go to church, they go to a small church because they like to be a big fish in a little pond. And the sad thing of it is that somebody who's way over the edge into narcissism is that when they die, nobody misses them. In fact, you conduct their funeral and you find their relatives are saying, oh, we're kind of glad he's gone, so we don't have to deal with him anymore. And that's sad. Now, the fact is that all of us have some narcissist in us. It's kind of a percentage. It's kind of a grade. Some of us might be at 20% and some might be at 95%. Now, I read a lot of psychology. And my favorite psychologist is a fellow by the name of Henry Cloud. He's very well published. And if you Google him, you'll find all kinds of good things. And Henry Cloud says that the extreme narcissist can change, but they usually don't change unless they're in a jail cell. There has to be some pretty severe things going on. Now, I believe that there is no cure for being human, that we all have certain tendencies. But this narcissism thing, we can dial it down. We can make some changes. And today's story, which was so eloquently sung just a little bit ago, tells us that. It's from Luke chapter 19, and it reads like this. Jesus entered Jericho and made his way through the town. There was a man there named Zacchaeus. He was the chief tax collector in the region, and he'd become very rich. He tried to get a look at Jesus, but he was too short to see over the crowd. So he ran ahead and climbed a sycamore fig tree beside the road, for Jesus was going to pass that way. There's a couple of things that we need to notice about Zacchaeus. One is that the passage says he had become very rich. He didn't get his money the good old-fashioned way by inheriting it. He got it by collecting taxes. And he collected taxes in an unscrupulous manner. He was told by the Roman government, which had taken control of the area, to collect a certain amount of money. But he was also the tax assessor. He could decide how much everybody got to pay, and he had the strength of the Roman army behind him to enforce what he said. Now, everything that he collected above that sum for the Roman government, he got to keep as his wages. So he could assess for pretty much whatever he wanted. And if he didn't like you, he could double your taxes and there wouldn't be a thing you could do about it, which made him a fairly unpopular person. But that's how that worked. Now, one of the other things about Zacchaeus that we have to notice is this. He tried to get a look at Jesus. Now, why would he want to do that? At great risk to himself. Because, he probably wasn't very popular. It says he was a little guy. I imagine he got beat up a lot when he was a kid. And I'm guessing that when he walked around through a crowd, if there was nobody looking, I'm guessing he got beat up. He would have got in a lot of trouble going through a crowd like that. But it says he wanted to see Jesus, which meant he wanted to change. He was sick of being who he was, and he wanted to reinvent himself. So he pursued Jesus. The passage goes on. When Jesus came by, he looked up at Zacchaeus and called him by name. Zacchaeus, he said, quick, come down. I must be a guest at your home today. Zacchaeus quickly climbed down and took Jesus to his house in great excitement and joy. But the people were displeased. He's gone to be the guest of a notorious sinner, they grumbled. And of course they grumbled. They didn't want Jesus to waste his time or his attention on sinners. I mean, what were they thinking? Well, the passage goes on. Meanwhile, Zacchaeus stood before the Lord and said, I will give half my wealth to the poor, Lord. And if I've cheated people on their taxes, I will give them back 4 times as much. Zacchaeus changed. That's a good thing. Notice Jesus' response. Jesus responded, salvation has come to his home today, for this man has shown himself to be a true son of Abraham. For the Son of Man came to seek and save those who are lost. Here again, Jesus restating his purpose. And his purpose was to seek and save those who are lost. Zacchaeus was lost, but he wanted to not be. And so Jesus was there for him. Well, here's what we need to know with this, is that extreme narcissists don't want to change. They want you to change to meet their demands. But you know, they can change. And you and I can all change. You just have to ask the question, are you sick of being who you are? Because if you are, you can change the same way Zacchaeus did. Zacchaeus was sick and tired of ripping people off. So he changed his behavior, and his heart followed. Now, you may be in the same spot. Maybe you're sick of deceiving people. Maybe you're sick of lying. Change your behavior, and you find that your heart follows. Maybe you're sick of feeling sorry for yourself. Change your behavior, and you notice your heart will follow. Meet Jesus. Let him lead. Follow his teachings. Then you'll modify your behavior, and your heart will follow. There is definitely no cure for being human. There is none. But humans can change. We are not like Foxy Loxy, governed by a tiny little brain that's based on instinct. We have all the capability in the world to change, to reinvent ourselves. Let's do it. When you modify your behavior, your heart follows. And humans are capable of change. And some change magnificently. So the good news of this Zacchaeus story is really quite simple. You can dial down your narcissism. Salvation can come to your home today too. You just have to desire the change, invite Jesus in, change your behavior, and your heart follows. So I invite you to take him in. We're going to celebrate the sacrament of the Lord's Supper now, so I'm going to say goodbye to our video audience. Just a reminder to our online audience, this is taken on the first Sunday of the even-numbered months. We do celebrate the sacrament of the Lord's Supper. So the next time will be the first Sunday of December, and you're welcome to come in and show up for that. The catch is we only serve sinners here. No one else can take part. So if you're not a sinner, don't bother, but I know you are. You're just like me that way. So you're welcome to come on in. So thanks as always for watching. We're going to move to the sacrament of the Lord's Supper now.